Hi, hello, and how are you? That's right, ladies and gentlemen, that Rockwell timepiece says it's time once again. So come on in and stay a while. It's time to get coached up with another edition of the Coach Scott Field Show. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a special back by popular demand series. So that Rockwell timepiece, it continues to be a proud sponsor of the Coach Scott Field Show, and I'm still thrilled to be a brand ambassador. Go to rockwelltime.com, use that code Coach20 for 20% off of anything there on that website. Again, rockwelltime.com. Like and follow the Coach Scott Field Show on our Facebook page. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once you hit that subscribe button, don't forget to hit that bell. That way you'll get notifications when shows like this are soon to be uploaded. If you're listening to us in podcast form, my brother Cylk and I say, turn that knob up. We're definitely going to put that flavor in your ear. Watch us on DBTV Monday through Fridays, and then also on Saturday afternoons. Thrilled to say that we're still in over 300 million households around the globe and 350,000 viewers per day. Watch us on CSTV on Wednesdays, and also watch us on the Rewind Sports 60. Sure appreciate however you consume us. I am honored and humbled. And again, this is my guy, my man, Cylk Cozart, back by popular demand. Yes, he is a actor, director, producer, writer, but much more than that, he's a Lifetime Achievement Award winner. And all the success that you have on the big screen means nothing without the kindness of this man's heart. Cylk, thrilled to have you back on the show. Thanks for agreeing to this, because I can't believe how much the viewers just loved our conversation.
Oh, it's always good to just talk to you. And I felt like we wasn't doing a show. I felt like we were having a conversation in your living room, or it was just you're just so comfortable to be around and to talk to. But thank you for having me back. And I love our viewers are just wonderful. They're all over the world. I didn't realize they were all over the world.
Isn't that cool? That is so cool. Yes.
Because we have friends. We have friends all over the world.
Right? I love it. Well, and again, we in the first episode, we talked about how we had so many things in common. We went to the same junior college, and then at the same at King College in Tennessee. And I think people enjoyed hearing those stories of things that we went through. And then I go off with the basketball end of it. You utilized basketball with part of your acting career, and gosh, those conversations were so fun. And the hits and the comments and questions came up, and so many people were like, hey, can we get Cylk back on and have him tell stories about, on the set and behind the scenes? I'm like, well, let's give it a shot.
Here we are.
Here we are. So with that being said, I mean, we talked about, you were in White Men Can't Jump, you were in Blue Chips, you were in Slam Dunk Earnest, but I mean, you was also in Ricochet and FireBird. I mean, so many cool projects you were on. And since, we're kind of with basketball, let's kind of stick with, White Man Can't Jump for a second. How were you introduced to that role? What were the auditions like? And any funny behind the scenes stories that you can share with our viewers?
Yes. Well, first I was introduced to no one had ever heard of the name of it, the title or anything. And Denzel Washington, we were playing basketball every weekend at Fairfax High School. On the weekends, that's where all the ballers would go play. And so this particular weekend, I had just moved to LA maybe 6 months prior to this. And me and Denzel were sitting down, and he says to me, why don't you come and play? I got a movie we could, I want that you can be in called Ricochet. I was like, cool. I'll carry water on the set, And so I show up to the set after the first day. Denzel comes in the second day, and he said, a script came through the pipe called White Men Can't Jump. And I went, I hope it's a comedy.
Yeah.
He said, yeah. And he said, the writer-director's brilliant, Ron Shelton. He wrote and directed Bull Durham, one of the best sports movies in the world. Tin Cup, great Cobb, what a great writer director. Anyway, I said, wow, I didn't know him. So Denzel set up a meeting with me and Ron Shelton at 20th Century Fox. And I show up to the meeting, and immediately when I see Ron Shelton behind the desk, along with about 10 other suits from Fox, and the casting director, I'm sitting there going, this guy looks familiar. I had been playing against Ron for a year at the Hollywood Y. Everybody thought, nobody knew that was the same Ron Shelton that directed Bull Durham and all those, the movies before that. He was just Ron, the 40-year-old guy that could kill everybody he was like Havlicek, John Havlicek playing against. And so all the guys were like, man, I got Ron. I went, I think I played against you. This was in the audition. And he said, oh, I know this guy. I know I played against him. And then we started talking about our games that we were playing against each other. And the suits, all the 20th Century Fox executives were like going, oh, because they didn't know me. Nobody heard of me. Yeah. And so he said, I don't have to see him play. We'll just read. So guess who the first person they had me read with that they were considering? He had a little movie. It was the #1 movie in the world called Top Gun.
Oh,
Tom Cruise walks in
with
the script and just decked down to like all the best basketball gear. It hadn't even come out yet. I was like, damn, where'd you get those shoes? He was like, anyway, so we read together, and I'm thinking, I'm reading with Tom Cruise. He's the biggest star in the world. And he came in and we did our bit. He left. And I was like, wow, that was interesting, And he said, okay, bring in the next one. Keanu Reeves walks in. I'm reading. Speed was the #2 movie in the world at that time.
Yeah.
It was either one. It was like 1 and 2, And Keanu was really funny because, we went out to play ball, but Tom didn't really play. He just said, I got to go. So after we read, we're supposed to go outside. And, he had a hoop set up, outside the office. And we're just going to shoot around, And Tom didn't stay to shoot. He left after the reading. But Keanu, during the reading, we had improv time where Ron Shelton told me whenever we're reading it, at some point, just throw the script down and just go off. And I was like, I love that. So I did that. And Keanu, he was like, dude. He gets up on a chair and jumps up. His head hits the ceiling. Now, we're in those little cubicles outside, those little square, little box rooms they just throw up. He hits his head up there, and all this confetti comes down. He's on the floor, and I leaned over, and I went, white man can't jump. And he goes, and everybody laughed, but Keanu.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, I guess, And so we went outside to play ball. We're shooting layups. Keanu goes up to block my shot. We're doing a layup drill. And he comes out of nowhere. Wham! I was like, whoa, that was a good one. And Ron Shelton immediately stops the whole thing. He goes, okay, I've seen enough. That's good. Okay. And so nobody gets hurt here. We don't want anybody to get hurt. I was like, yeah. Anyway, he leaves. Okay. Ron sets me down. He says, look, I don't know about this. He said, we're going to have to figure something else out. He said, but we got another guy coming tomorrow. I show up the next day, and another actor comes in. And I don't really say his name, but he wasn't really right for the role, and everybody in the room knew it. So I thought, oh, well, we're going to have somebody come in. So 2 days go by. And the next thing I know, Ron Shelton goes, he says, I'm in Chicago, and I'm meeting with John Cusack, and we're having lunch, and I'm getting ready to play basketball with him. He went out to play basketball. John Cusack, really good athlete, say anything. He was a martial artist, I think. But basketball wasn't at the level that, you know, Ron, we needed. Ron comes back, he feels bad, he goes, Cylk, he says, the studio doesn't know who you are. I said, yes, sir. And he said, I've got to have a big name to match you. Otherwise, it won't work. They're not going to spend, you know, millions of dollars on nobody, you know, they don't know you. And I said, I understand. So I'm thinking, what are we going to do? He says, got a reading tomorrow. I go in, Woody Harrelson shows up. So it's me and Woody. Wesley hadn't even been thought about at this point. Okay. Wow. So it's me and Woody. And Woody throws this, I throw the script down during the improv thing. Woody throws the script down and he goes, I said, white men can't jump. And he goes, black men can't swim. I mean, because we're improv, I just cracked up, you know, I just lost it. You know, I was like, this guy's the funniest guy I've ever seen. And it was like, we were like we knew each other for years.
Wow.
So it was going to be Woody and Cylk. And the studio says, wait a minute. And this is what Ron Shelton took me to dinner and he explained it to me. He says, I got to tell you something. I said, yeah, when do we start filming? He says, the studio's not going to go with two actors that doesn't have a film cue. I said, Woody. He goes, Woody's on a television show and he's the fifth lead. He hasn't carried a film yet. And I'm like, but he's great. He said, they don't care about that. He said, so they've got a guy named Wesley Snipes that they've got a 3-picture deal with. He said, he's got a movie out called New Jack City. He said, I'm gonna go look at it, see him, and I'll talk to you in a few days. Next thing I know, I get a call saying Wesley's playing that role, but he wrote the script where he put me in as one of the main characters because he wanted me as the lead so bad. Wow. He literally wrote a character in. So Robert, the security guard, was a character, but it wasn't a lead. And he built it up to where it was one of the lead characters for me. And I you know, nobody does that. Who does that?
Wow.
Ron Shelton is one of the greatest filmmakers of all time, but he's a fair human being, a very nice man, I owe him my career because once I was in White Men Cant Jump, it just went.
Wow.
So,
and I hear that story, Cylk, and I think, what a visionary he is. And the fact that he was very transparent with you, letting you know what the process was. I mean, you knew you were going to be involved, but man, you talk about.
I did. I'm thinking when he took me to lunch and he said, you know, it's not going to work out with you and Woody. And I was like, I'm still thinking I'm still playing, you know, Sydney.
Yeah.
You know, so I said, well, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Wow. What are we going to do? And he's like, well, we are going to have to rethink some things. So obviously it worked. Whatever, you know, just the magic with those guys. And
wow.
It just kept working and working. And then the Rodney King thing happened. So we had that movie filmed in the can and the Rodney King thing. All of a sudden, LA is on a lockdown.
Yeah, the riots of that time.
We had the movie. The movie was ready to go, but we couldn't release it because the city was on lockdown. Nobody was leaving. It was all about the Rodney King thing all over America. And
right.
Nobody was thinking about movies. So they didn't, Fox was like, we're not going to release the movie now. The Rodney King thing is the movie. You know, every day it was, you know. So that was kind of interesting. We had that movie out ready to go for almost a year before we could release it.
And see, Cylk, I love that because when you think of Woody, of course, you're talking about, you know, he was in Cheers with Ted Danson, you know, with that whole crew. And, you know, I mean, and it was a successful TV show, as you said, but yet it seemed like the chemistry of all that, it just worked. And then buddies of mine who you also got to be in that show with, I mean, Marques Johnson is in that where he's coming out there with some of that.
That was the connection I was going to tell you. Marques and I did a short film for a USC project, and that's how I met him. We just got together. We became friends. And of course, I'm like, wow, it's Marques Johnson. He's all pro. He's one of the best players in the world. Yeah. And So when I got my first audition for White Men Can't Jump, after I left Ron, I came back in the room and I said, Ron, I have a friend that I think is perfect for this one role. He said, oh, you do? I can't believe, to this day, I can't believe. I was like, yeah, Ron, I think I know who should be playing. And he goes, who you thinking about? And I said, Marques Johnson. I said, he's 6'8", he can play, and he's a good actor. He goes, Marques Johnson? You know Marques Johnson? I said, yes, sir. He goes, well, yeah. I said, well, he's out in the car. He goes, you got Marques Johnson out in your car? I said, yes, sir. I said, we've been working on the scene together. He said, well, bring him in. So Marques came in, did the scene. Obviously, the rest is history. And Marques, in the movie, in Ball of Confusion, Marques talks about it, how, that happened and everything. And I just love that, the fact that Ron Shelton was so secure with himself that to take it like me, and nobody knew me. He didn't have to listen to me or nothing. He could have said, that's thank you, but no, tell him to call Vicky Thomas, our casting director.
Wow.
He did that, and it was just those stories I'll never forget. They just
yeah. And I love too, as you watch that movie, it's such an iconic classic. It baffles me that they think that they're going to try to remake that. And to me, why do you want to mess with gold? I mean, it was perfect. It was beautiful. So, I mean, that's a whole nother story. But I also think
about that question. Would you remake The Godfather?
What? No.
On Golden Pond. Would you remake On Golden Pond?
You don't mess with perfection.
Sequel. Do a sequel. If you got the money and think to do a sequel.
Yeah.
Just so look, the people that made this new movie never contacted Ron Shelton at all. He's the creator of it. Anyway, that's another thing.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying.
Started.
Yeah, I could go off on that too, because I'm like, well, even if people in our generation were to watch that movie, all they're going to do is compare the characters to how good you guys were, and there's no way to work, because it's like seeing somebody come up and be like, oh, well, all you think about is Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. Come on.
Yeah, well, we were not trying to be funny.
Yeah.
We were real characters, real people in real situations, and some were funny. Some were just real, and that's the way it was. You can't make that, but hey, I want him to be. I want it to be a really good film. That's all. Yeah. Just be a good film, because Scott, I bet you're like this. If there was a movie that you hear about, the name of it says basketball. Yeah. You're gonna go see it. I'm gonna go see it. I don't care who's in it. Yeah. It's because we're basketball guys.
That's right. Yep.
But if it's a good movie, it's a good movie.
That's right.
White Men Can't Jump. That name will draw people, even if it doesn't matter who's in it.
That's right.
So the movie's going to be a success financially just because of the title, I think. And I wish them well. I don't wish
that's right.
not to be good. I want it to be great.
Yeah.
That really accents our brand. But anyway, I thought that was a little disrespectful not calling Ron Shelton. I don't care if they didn't call me, Woody, and Wesley, and Rosie, which was disrespectful. But anyway, but not to call Ron Shelton.
Right.
And to say, hey, sir, we'd like to talk to you about, what do you think about this? They didn't care. I mean, so I don't know. Anyway, don't get me started.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about some of those other characters in the movie, because it seems like, Kadeem, Hardison, and some of, like, was that scripted, or was that some of you guys coming off the dome just because it was real and authentic, and it was trash talking, and just like in your scene, go back to SeaWorld. I mean, those was so good. It was pure.
The great thing about working with a wonderful director like Ron Shelton, they allow you that room to create and to magnify what you've already done together. So we stayed with the script, and then he let us go off. He let us go off. So the whole scene, just about the whole scene that you saw, like the go back to SeaWorld scene, I improv the whole thing. Woody and Wesley went with it. I didn't tell Wesley or Woody what I was going to do. I went to Ron and I said, Ron, because we had already shot the scene we had scripted. And I went to Ron Shelton because I felt comfortable with him. And I said, Ron, I feel something. I don't know what it is. I want to. And I started to explain it. And he goes, I don't want to hear it. Just do it. You know, and we set up the cameras back to that. And then, of course, Woody was like, oh, God, what's Cylk wanting to do now? You know, and they were giving me a hard time. And I said, I'm thinking the scene is Wesley can't guard me. And I was like, well, he can't guard me anyway. So I might as well. I said, just follow me. I said, and the cameraman, Chuck Cohen, he says, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know. I just know he can't guard me. How's that? And he goes, okay. And Ron was just like this smiling. So Wesley didn't know anything. Now the dialogue in the beginning was the dialogue, but once it got in, once I got the ball at the top of the key and I was dribbling between my legs behind my back, talking while I was doing it, none of that was written. And I thought I missed the shot because the ball hit the back of the rim and went straight up, but it came straight down. And when it went down, I went, both of y'all, go back to SeaWorld. And that 1,700, that was not written. And Ron let me do that. He had allowed, because he had the other scenes that was written. And he, you know, when it comes time to editing, it's like, what works? I don't care who wrote it.
See, I love that. So, because just like me as a coach, I'm going to design the plays and give the players the freedom to showcase their abilities so they can have creativity and artistry and flow. And that's when it works beautifully. So I love to hear the fact that, you know, that was just you playing and just you know, free flowing. That's wonderful.
I was like, he can't stop me anyway. So why am I going to, I mean, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, why don't we design a play? Just have him guard me, you know? And I guess it was a little arrogant, but it worked out. And here's the thing. Here's what a great actor Wesley and what a great actor Woody are. Woody obviously didn't know I was going to kiss, because I didn't know I was going to kiss him on the cheek afterwards, because I was thinking of how the mafia does it after when they're going to kill somebody or when they're dead, or when they're, you know, they go, mwah, you're mine, you know. And Woody, like, all Woody said, he's glad he said, I'm glad I didn't turn around when you didn't. I was like, I wouldn't have kissed you if you turned around. And then here's how absolutely wonderful of an actor that Wesley is. We were in the scene where the money, they're getting ready to hold the money before we play. Yeah. And you know, the guy goes, I'll hold it. I'm not going anywhere. The bakery ain't open, right? He says, well, after we did the scene or that part and we won and we're dividing the money, he grabs the money. I grab the guy by the neck and go, don't grab my money, man. You know, who do you think you are? That was improv too. And the guy, he's like 6'4", you know, I didn't really know him. I knew he was one of the extras, you know, and I went, don't you grab my money, you know? And when I did that, the bills, the money grazed Wesley's eye as I did it. And in the scene, you'll see when I grab the guy, Wesley goes in the frame. Wesley goes like this. I didn't know it. Nobody knew it. Wesley kept going. And after the end of the scene, Wesley's like this, you know, and he's like, you got me, Cozart. You got me. I was like, what? And he said, yeah, the bills, and we had to stop it, but he kept going. He did like 2 more scenes after that. He's hardcore, man. Wesley, he's one of the best actors on the planet.
Yeah, that's a pro. That's a pro when you can just go with it and, you know, kind of suffer an injury and be, hey, you're on the hardwood, man. You know, you're on the blacktop. It is what it is, right?
I've worked with some actors. If you'd have just barely touched them, they were, hey, wait a minute, that wasn't written.
Yeah. Wow, good stuff. Cylk, I love
Woody. Wesley Woody, you know, they were friends before that. They had did a movie called Wildcats with Goldie Hawn.
That's right. The football movie.
In the early 80s.
Coach. Yeah.
Yes. It was in 80 or 81 or something like that. So they've been friends. So their chemistry was already there. It was great. It was great. Anyway.
Cylk, that is great stuff. I love that. And then, of course, you know, being in the movie Blue Chips, another big basketball movie. Nick Nolte, Shaquille O'Neal, Matt Nover. I mean, so many cameos. Bobby Knight's in it. I mean, I have so many friends. And I'm an Indiana boy, as you know. So the fact that a lot of that filming is done in Indiana. I mean,
what was that gym? I can't think of the name of the gym. It's a round gym in Indiana.
Frankfurt.
You know, yes.
Frankfurt. home of the hot dogs, baby.
Yes, that's right. That's
Oh,
right.
so
What a
yeah, you have a great scene in there where you're supposedly going to Algiers with Coach Nick Nolte, and you're introducing him to Shaquille O'Neal for the first time, and of course share some of the stories about being on the boat and going through the small town
oh
and going into the gym.
well. First of all, we're in Louisiana,
Yeah.
and it's hot. It's like 200
Oh,
degrees, right? And we're doing a scene where I take Nick Nolte on we're on a shrimp boat. They're
yeah.
kind of flat, and it just the sun. There's nowhere to go. You're so they had cases of beer and water and Coca-Cola and all kind of drinks there for us. And all of a sudden, I was like, it was taking a little long for the boat to get back out, and I said, Nick, let's get a beer. You know, I didn't know. He had some issues with. I just didn't know.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, Cylk, that's all right. I said, come on, have a beer with your co-star. And he goes, no, if I have one, I have to have the whole case over there. And I went, yeah, okay, I got it. But he was so nice with it. So we're going in inland, and the director, Billy Friedkin, who was married to the head of Paramount, Sherry Lansing. So Billy Friedkin, who directed The Exorcist and The French Connection, which is the greatest car chase scene in the world to me. Anyway, so Billy Friedkin said, Cylk, I want you to jump off the edge of the boat into the water and just walk right up shore. And I was like, okay. As we were leaving, I said, okay. And we get out there, and as we're coming in, I'm starting to think, like, how deep is that down there? I'm thinking, there's alligators. We're in Louisiana. There's alligators and snakes around here. And I started really sweating, and Nick was going, you all right? I was like, I don't know. I said, I don't feel comfortable with this one, Nick. He goes, what are you talking about? And we were getting ready to do the scene. It was like no time to think or anything. And I was like, I kind of stopped, and Billy had a reputation, by the way, pretty serious reputation with actors, and you hear these horror stories, like he'll hit an actor if you don't get enough scene, he'll smack you. I'm like, you better not smack me, So I'm thinking, I might get smacked. I might be, and I'm like, I ain't jumping. I said, could somebody check the edge of the water there? And Billy Friedkin goes, just jump off, Cylk, just jump off. I was like, no, no, I'm not jumping off. And Nick starts laughing. He goes, well, hell, Cylk ain't doing it. I damn sure ain't gonna do it. Anyway, so Billy Friedkin gets one of those long bars, those long, it's like a long pole.
Yeah.
So he gets it off the boat, and he says, I'll check it. And it keeps going and going and going and going. I was like, look at that. And then Billy goes, all right, just jump off the boat onto the land and let's do it. And that's what you saw. I mean,
Hey, I think I'm with you, Cylk. I think I'd rather take a slap from the director than getting my leg bit by an alligator. Come on, man.
And there's cottonmouths around there, I think.
That's right. Yeah. You're in the bayou, man.
And I tell you what, we broke for lunch one day, and it was me and Nick's scene where I was taking him, through all the places to the gym or to
the small little town.
So we broke for lunch before we got to the basketball area. So we're in the middle of it's like the bayou. You'd hear sounds like, I'm like, what was that? I mean, I'm from Tennessee. You know what a squirrel sounds like. You know what a coyote sounds like. But
a raccoon or something, right?
Yeah. I had never heard that sound. And so we break for lunch. And lunch is about the length of about half of a football field away, about 50 yards away, but zigzagging around the trees and swamp area and all that. So Nick Nolte starts taking off his clothes. He takes off all his clothes except his shoes and runs toward the lunch. And everybody went. I had never seen that before or heard of that. Anyway, he showed up to lunch, but he had clothes on. But he just I guess, wanted to take off his clothes. I'd never seen that before. Anyway.
Oh, well, I can imagine, of course, being in Louisiana that time of year, the humidity had to be
Everybody was
unbearable.
sweating. And you can see in the movie, he's sweating like this.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know,
all through
that
his
was
shirt.
real.
Yeah,
They
through
didn't
his
have to.
shirt.
Yeah, they didn't have to press water on us at all. And if you
Wow.
notice, that rim inside that
Oh,
barn that we were playing was like this big around.
yeah, yeah,
And all those guys were 6'10" or 6'11" or
right.
7 for Shaq, because you
Yep.
couldn't get small guys to play.
It's not like he's small at all, right?
Oh, but the games in between all that, the best time.
uh,
Best time. Just
is it
Bobby
isn't
Hurley.
Shaq is one of the funniest guys
Oh,
offset because
I
I,
know.
I remember meeting him one time, no kidding. This is when he was in Orlando and he had this big old truck with the big old speakers and had this big old size 21 shoe or whatever it was. And he pulls it out of the back, has this little dog jumping out of the shoe. He was so funny, man.
He's a big kid. He's
He
a
is.
big kid. He's so much fun to be around. What you see is what you get.
Yep, yep. And see, I
And
can appreciate that though. His
oh,
personality and all the successful businesses that he has because he took all of those life lessons from sport and
he sure
basketball
did.
and tied it into all of his business ventures. And look at him now. I mean, he's one of the most successful athletes ever. He and Magic Johnson and other guys
Oh,
that we know as well, right?
that's right. I mean,
Oh,
he learned from people like Leonard Armato,
oh,
and
yes,
David Falk. He
that's right.
learned he learned about the business of basketball,
That's right.
which a lot of guys don't pay any attention to. They just go, "I'm gonna
Yep.
get paid." I'm
Yep.
like, well, but are you gonna keep the money that you got paid with?
That's right. And be smart with your investments and where you're putting your money because those super agents got to be super agents for a reason. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
you ain't kidding. Bo Kimball took Michael
Oh,
Jordan's place in heaven as a playground.
oh, yeah. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
See, I
And
love that stuff, man. And then, of course, another basketball movie, um, Ernest, the slam dunk Ernest. Ernest was such a funny character for
oh,
years, and then to make a basketball movie with him, oh my gosh, I can't imagine the laughs and fun you had on that set.
well, thank God it was a comedy, because during that time, I was married. My wife she wanted a divorce.
Oh,
And yeah, she wanted a divorce. I had just turned down a movie that they offered me more money I'd ever seen before. And we had just got married, and my wife thought I was crazy. It was right when the O.J. Simpson trial had started. And I
wow,
turned it down. They wanted me to play OJ. And it was going to be a
wow.
Fox TV. I turned it down. I mean, I prayed about it. I did everything I could. And then when I went to my wife, my new wife, and she was hearing all the messages, from my agent, and I had the same manager as Halle Berry.
Okay,
And
yeah.
so everything was like at a high level. Vince Duracion was his name, and I'm with ICM. I had all the best representation. And I was like, I don't feel good about that. And Ron Shelton, he was going to take, because he knows OJ. They were going to play golf. They played golf together, and he offered to take me down to the jail where OJ was, and I was like, no, that's okay, that's all right.
Oh,
But Ron
wow.
said, look, he says, there's no script yet. There's no script. They can only do a part of that. He says, I wouldn't even think about it right now.
Yeah.
And I told my manager, I said, I don't feel good about that. And of course, your manager's like, oh, well, you sure you want to think about it a little longer? I'm like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to
Yeah.
do it. And a guy named Bobby Hosea ended up playing a character that they did a little film or a little TV movie about it. But the point was, he had threats after that and all that. See, people didn't realize there's some psychos out there. You play certain characters, there's people that take that serious.
That's
And
right.
it's just some people are just, all
Yeah.
over, and you don't know who's going to be like that. So it was a blessing that I didn't do that
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
And so I took the movie Slam Dunk Earnest which made like, 5,000 a week or something, like not $1 million, nowhere near $1 million.
Yeah.
And they said, so you're going to take a movie with Ernest when you were offered to play O.J. Simpson? I was like, yes. My wife said, you're crazy. I'm gone. Bye. I'm out. Anyway, so
Oh my gosh.
they
Yeah.
had fired the actor that was already playing in this role. He cut his hair right before they started filming. I don't know why, but they fired him. They said that's not, and so they were scrambling, going, "Who are we going to get? It's the second lead in the movie." And when my agent, not the manager, called, my agent said, "Well, there's a little movie that shoots in Canada called, Ernest, that Ernest movie, a kids." I said, "I'll take it." And they were like, "You don't know what it's about." I said, "I'll take it." The next day I signed, and I took off 2 days later, and I was in Canada filming that. So yeah, and I got to meet Kareem. Kareem
Abdul-Jabbar is in that movie, right? The captain.
He's the archangel of basketball.
Well, he was great. Think about it. He became the all-time leading scorer at the time.
During that time, that's right. That's exactly
to have
right.
A guy who was such a social activist and who quietly, who quietly stood his ground on his beliefs. I love that about him.
Absolutely, like Hakeem Olajuwon.
That's right. That's exactly right. Oh wow. See, so that's good stuff. Well, and even the guy who had the lead role in Juwanna Mann, he was in that movie with you as well, if I remember.
Yes, he was, and he's funny. He's really funny. He's really good friends with Jerry Buss.
Okay,
they were really good friends. Yeah, and he's a really funny really good actor.
He is. Really he's a talented man for sure.
Jim Varney was one of the kindest individuals you'll ever want to meet. He could, when he doesn't, he contorts his face when he wants to be, when he wants to be earnest. He's like, his jaws come out and he does his thing, but he looks like that camel on the cigarette thing, the camel cigarette. Anyway, I told him that, and he cracked up. But when he's just normal face, you wouldn't even recognize. You wouldn't think he's earnest if he's just walking down the street. So he collected watches. He had over 200, 300 watches that were in these beautiful clear casings. And he showed me. I went in his dressing room. He goes, "Let me show you what I got over here. I think you might like." And he wanted to take me boar hunting. He lived in outside of Nashville.
Okay.
And I said, "I ain't going boar hunting with you, man." He goes, "No, you love it. You'll love it." I'm like, "Man, that's okay. I'll pass on that one."
That's so funny. But he was so good at physically contorting his face for that comedy, kind of like what a Jim Carrey later became famous for.
Well, Jim took from Jerry Lewis, took from, Dick Van Dyke, all the greats. And I think that's fine. And he made it his. Jim made it his. I think he's a genius. Jim Carrey.
That's right.
He made it all those. He still had to do it. That's like the guy. What do they say if you in the baseball hitters that juice up or whatever, they hit it, but they still have to hit the ball.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you can get big, but you still got to have that eye-hand coordination, don't you? I think
that's right. Got to have the talent. That's right.
You got to have the talent no matter what.
Well, and other people that you've been fortunate to work with. I mean, the list is unbelievable. Julia Roberts. Yes.
Mel Gibson.
Talk about that a little bit. Wow.
We did a movie called Conspiracy Theory.
Yeah.
And we shot 3 months in New York, 3 months in Toronto, and 2 months in LA. So that's almost a year when you're on a set together, right? So the first week we're filming in New York. Mel's trailer is here, our big old, motorhome. When you film on the set, you got a big old trailer. Yeah. Mel's trailer was here. My trailer was here next to his, and Julia was on the other side of me. So I was in the middle of them.
Wow.
Every day. So I know. So Mel comes to my room, knocks on the thing. I go, "Hey, Mel." He says, "Can I come in?" I was like, "Yeah." He comes in, and he has a box like about a foot and a half long and wide. It was a square, and it had a bow ribbon around it. I was like, "This guy bringing a present to me? What's the kind of, is he really?" And he goes, "Hey," he says, I thought I'd, invite you to come with me. It's like a tradition where the leading men give the leading lady a present on the first day of filming. I went, oh no, I don't have any. I didn't bring. I don't have. He goes, no, I got. It's from me and you. This is from both of us. The jewels. He called it jewels. Yeah. I said, what a nice guy. What a cool guy, right? So we go next to me, knock on her door. She opens the door. She's got curlers. She's got a house coat on. She goes, guys, she got a little dog. She goes, what are y'all doing? Come on in. So we go in. We thought we'd give you a little something, you know. She looks at me and I was like, yeah, you know, and you guys are so sweet. Oh my God. And he goes, yeah, it's tradition, you know, blah, 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 blah. And so she opens the box, and there's another box in there. She picks that out, smaller box. It goes like 3 or 4. And then she gets the paper and she screams this blood curdling scream. And it almost busted my ear. I mean, and she kicks it, gets out of the way, and she like runs around the thing, and Mel's going, and Mel picks it up. It's a freeze-dried rat about this big.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
I mean, Julia looked at me every day about a week after that. She thought, I said, I really didn't. She goes, yeah, right. Okay. It took me a week to get back into her good graces before she really knocked me out in the scene after that.
I've heard stories of legend about Mel Gibson being just an unbelievable practical joker, kind of like a George Clooney.
Yeah, I heard about. I played basketball with George. I haven't worked with him, but I heard he's a funny guy.
Yeah,
Mel,
he's a Kentucky guy, isn't he? Isn't he from Kentucky, George?
You know what? I think so.
Yeah.
And didn't they film one of his movies there?
There you go. Wow.
Well, Brother, Where Art Thou? I think they did some.
Yeah, there you go. Oh man!
But the first day we were filming in New York, we did the scene where Mel has to knock me out. Right? I'm driving the car, and he takes out my partner, and then he puts himself in, and I don't know it's him, and then he knocks me out. Well, that day, the first day before I even said hello to him, he's sitting in my car where we're shooting, and Dick Donner, I should have known this. Dick Donner and him have done 50 movies together, you know, all the Lethal Weapons, you know, God, he's done so many
stuff.
Maverick, you know,
yeah,
all those movies. So anyway, Mel's already in there, and Dick Donner said, I said, Dick, are we rehearsing? He goes, well, Mel might want to go through the scene with you. And I was like, oh yeah. So I get in the car, get in the driver's seat, and I turn around so I could talk to him. He's right, you know, on the right side. And he goes, he didn't say, hi, nice to meet you. You want to go over the scene? He had the New York Times newspaper, and he was reading it. And he goes, did you hear this about what's going on in New York in the city? I said, no, what? And he set me up and I said, no, what is it? And he goes, well, read here. It says, you know, they found it was a guy is going around the city murdering people in their bathtubs. I said, what? He said, yeah. And he said they found this one girl murdered covered in milk up to her neck. I was like, that's disgusting. That's crazy. He goes, yeah. I said, did they catch him? He goes, well, they think it's the work of a serial killer. I was like,
come on, man.
I swear to you, that's how I met Mel Gibson. And I was like, I didn't laugh because I was like, I'm really thinking somebody's getting killed.
Yeah.
In milk. And I was like, and he just kept laughing. He laughs at his own jokes so much. But I got him back. I got him back.
How'd you get him back, Cylk?
Well, we were filming in LA this time by the end of the 8-month period. And I didn't know he was afraid of dogs, especially Rottweilers.
Oh.
You know, because remember the Rottweiler in Lethal Weapon?
Yeah.
Where it's like that far away. Well, that dog was a really mild dog, and they had to take rubber bands and hold the dog. So he looked mean. The dog wasn't mean, but he was like 200-pound dog, you know. So Mel was freaked out. I didn't know this. I had a dog called Misha. She's a Rottie, and that was my baby. And everybody knows I train dogs, and I'm a dog man. And so one day, my assistant that kept her while I was filming, she couldn't do it. And I said, well, I wonder if I could keep her in my dressing room. in on the set. You know, I've almost finished the movie. They can't fire me now. So I brought Misha to the set. And so in the morning, I just put her in I was going to go back and forth and make sure she was okay. Well, I had her in there and I didn't have to film in the beginning. So I would have her outside, but Mel didn't see her. So we broke for lunch, and some of the extras had their parents and their friends come on the set, and they were introducing them to Mel and me and everything. So they're in the middle of the drive with all these extras and people. We got, oh, Mel, oh, you're going to taking pictures. And I come out with Misha on the leash, and Mel goes, oh, no, Cylk, no, get the dog away. I said, no, that's my baby. She's not going to. He goes, no, I just have I have a thing about, especially Rottweilers, please. And I said, Mel, please, look, you got to watch this. And I kneeled down, and I said, Misha, look, she gave me a high five. And I said, come here, Mel, come here. I want to just pet her. And then, so all those people were like, oh, my God. It was like 20 people in front of us. And I said, Mel, you got to get over that. Just pet her. Just barely pet her. And I kneeled down next to Misha. She's in between me and Mel. Mel's on the other side. I'm down low, and he tries to pet her on her head, and I grab his calf and go. He jumped up about 5 feet, and Ray starts running away. So I got him back. Anyway, I had to tell you that one. I had to get him back.
Oh, that's a great story. Great story.
But I didn't know he was afraid of those dogs.
Oh, but that makes it even better. That's a great story.
It does.
Well, and
it really does.
I go through all these things that you've done, and I look at, I mean, come on, you got to kiss Tyra Banks, and you've been around Will Smith, and what a crazy, wonderful, blessed life you've lived. I mean, what was it like working with a young Will Smith?
You know, he's as funny off camera as he is on camera, and that
so
was the
talented.
real early years. Yeah, that was the earlier years, because I don't even think Independence Day was out at that time. I'm not sure, but yeah, we had to do a little dance thing, and so we didn't tell each other what we were going to do, because it didn't say what kind of dance to do, you know. So he did his little stupid thing, and I did mine, and we tried to make each other laugh.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
So what that's the whole time we're just trying to crack each other up. So I didn't realize that the director was real stern. She was really serious, right? So I had my assistant bring back some real alcohol. And in the little drink, we're supposed to do shots, right? You know, to buy for Tyra. And I had them put the real alcohol in his drink. And so when he went like this, he was like, oh, smooth, you know, and that's the one they used. And I was like, I could have gotten a lot of trouble for that, you know. You take chances, and you know. But I was in. It helped, I guess, that I was dating Karen Parsons at the time. You know, she played Hillary, so I was around the cast all the time. Yeah, you know.
Well, and then you got to be a part. What was it, Living Single? Where again, just what a wonderful cast of characters there, right?
Oh my God, I didn't know that they didn't have a series. They just had a deal for one show, a pilot.
Yeah, like a pilot.
And if the pilot didn't work, they didn't have the rest of the season. So that pilot was real important, obviously. So I had gotten a call that an actor that they hired just got fired the second day on the set. And, you know, there's only 5 days. You know, they film on the 4th day, they do a taping, and then they tape it with a live studio audience on the 5th day, on Friday. Wow. Monday, you go into reading. Tuesday, you do a little rehearsal. And then Wednesday, you're around the cameras, you're up on the set. Thursday, they bring some people in. And then Friday, you shoot, you know, you're on. So I didn't realize that. So the 3rd day, the second actor that they brought in to take place of the first actor, they fired him. So I get a call Wednesday from my agent telling me, hey, Queen Latifah would really love to work with you. I said, oh, I'd love to work with her. And they said, well, They need you today. I said, what do you mean? They said, well, they're shooting a new show, and I thought it was a movie. And they said, no, it's a series. If it works out, if this pilot works out, and they're all nervous over there. I was like, well, thanks for telling me that. Anyway, so I just
no
show
pressure,
up.
No pressure.
I get and I get the script and I look at it. And I'll go over there. There's flowers in my dressing room and all these presents and stuff. And Queen Latifah comes in and she goes, "Thank you for saving us. Thank you." I was like, "What the heck is going on?" I'm like, "What is happening here? What were these?" So I didn't ask what happened to the two guys before me. I didn't want to know. I just said, I'm just going to do my thing. If they don't like it, they don't like it. If they like it, fine. And it worked out so well. The whole cast, I knew Kim Fields before. She was the only one I had known prior to that. And it was just fun. It was just so much fun working with them.
Yeah, because you can you guys were kind of coming up and you could vibe off of each other and have that creativity. I think it's great to see situations like that, how they kind of manifest themselves, and you see all the people that come together to make those things work. It truly is an art.
And sometimes they don't turn out exactly the way you want them, like FireBirds with that I did with Nicolas Cage and Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, talk about that one real quick. I mean, we got like 2 or 3 minutes here.
Okay, FireBirds was about the new helicopter that was like could fly upside down. It was called the Apache. It was like $2 million thing. Anyway, so we were in Arizona filming, and I didn't have a huge role or anything, but I was one of the guys that flew in it. So we're just doing a simple scene one day, and I'm just crossing paths with Tommy Lee Jones. You salute an officer. Well, every time we did it, there was a pole right here, and Tommy would kind of hesitate, and I would have to do a dance or something. And the director says, "Cut, I just need Cylk. I need you to just go right past him." Okay, second take. Tommy went over there, and I had to, I'm thinking, I'm not going to run into the pole. And so, Cylk, I need you to run straight. Just keep walking. Do not stop. I just have the camera on Tommy and you. Would you? I said, "Yes, sir." Take 3. Tommy did the same thing. And I thought, is he trying? Because he didn't talk to anybody on the set. He wouldn't speak. You wouldn't say hello. He'd go, "What?" I mean, he was intimidating. I mean, everybody was afraid of Tommy, and they should be. He's a bad boy. He's great, but he's a tough guy. So in the 4th take, I'm thinking, I'm not going to run into the pole. I'm going to run him into the pole or something. I said, I don't care. That came in me. That athlete came out, and I got to the pole, and I saw he was going to do it, and I shouldered him over he didn't go over the rail, but he hit the rail, and we're on the 2nd level. And they cut, Cylk, what's going on? And Tommy goes, "I need some room. I need some room." And I was like, he tried to run me into the pole, And I'm thinking, then it hit me. I'm almost going to get in a fight with Tommy Lee Jones on a movie set. I said, I should have said anything. And it hit me. And the director said, "Okay, that's lunch." So we go to lunch, and I'm waiting on my tray, and I look around, and it's Tommy. He goes, "What's your name?" I said, "Cylk." And he goes, "Cylk, what kind of name is that?" I said, "It's Cherokee." He goes, "Cherokee? Hell, my grandmother's Cherokee. We might be related." And we were friends from that day on. I was like, thank God he likes me now.
Oh, man.
And then Ron Shelton got him for Cobb after that.
I loved it. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Coach Scott Field Show. We got Cylk Cozart on, sharing behind-the-scenes experiences. And Cylk, man, this has been so much fun. Just real quick, because you've got to meet a lot of amazing people in your career. Is there one person that just stands out from others that just had this wonderful aura and spirit about him that you just, I mean, you're friends for life because of that one meeting?
Denzel is really the one that I would say that. But Woody Harrelson is such a, I can't say enough about him. He's so smart, and he cares about the planet. He cares about people. When my father died, he sent me some things that just, I didn't even know he knew it. He just did something to me that stuck, and always will. And Denzel, I'll never forget him. He's more than a friend to me. It's like a brother.
Wow.
And
that's powerful.
Yeah, owe a lot to him. And Ron Shelton, of course. Ron's my guy.
Yes, I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, we've spent, the last 54 minutes here with my guy, my brother, Cylk Cozart, an amazing, gifted, talented, special human being with the best spirit of anybody you're ever going to cross paths with. Thank you for taking your time to be a guest on our show once again, back by popular demand. Blessed, honored, and humbled to have you share this time with us, brother.
Absolutely. I'm honored and blessed to be alive, to be able to do it.
Oh,
A lot of our friends are not here now, and God bless them. But thank you for such a wonderful platform for us to come and have fun. Thank you, Scott.
amen, brother. God bless you, and hope to cross paths soon. But ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for another edition of the Coach Scott Field Show. They're going to continue to be great guests, but I'm going to tell you what, these are some big shoes to fill. We talked about Shaquille O'Neal earlier. These are some big shoes to fill. This is Cylk Cozart, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you, Cylk. Thank you, brother.
God bless you. See you. Bye, everybody.